since with that, if you can do that, you can ensure that you keep the advantage at all times. Also, I'm noticing now that I can't really add much pressure. I can still kill this forge and stop that upgrade, so I decided to go for that. I was able to take it out, and also it's important to rely some hydras to that. And also, since I had some extra minerals, I decided to take a new expansion. But with this builder, I would be careful not to like out expand what I can do. Since if I keep making too many expansions, and since my tech is late and so on, it's just not gonna work out. It's important to have like good tech and so on. And also, since I figured that I'm not gonna, he has storm, he has a lot of cannons, and he probably has quite a few gateways producing units, so I gotta do something else at this point. Right now, if you have any missing drones, it could be a good chance to kind of like replace whatever drones you're missing from your expansions. For example, I noticed that this base had a slightly less drones than the optimum would be, so I made a few drones, and then I continue my unit production once again. And also remember that you need lurker tech for sure with this build, pretty much, since once he moves out, you're just not gonna manage with only hydras. No matter how good micro you have, he's gonna have so many storms and so on that your hydra micro, no matter how good you have it, it's just not gonna be able to dodge all those storms. Also, remember to scout your expansions. I almost had a chance of, like a huge chance of losing this game just for being like way too careless with scouting those expansions. For example, right now I had so many hydras and those cannons were kind of halfway, so I was able to destroy it before anything happened. But if he had gotten that expansion up, I would have really been behind, since he would have gotten his second expansion in time, and since my tech and everything is late, it's very important that I can keep up with everything else and economy. The point is that since my upgrades and tech is late, I'm just gonna try and beat him with other overpowering mass, and also be sure to dodge his storms. This build is not very easy to pull off, since you gotta have very good sense of on where he's gonna storm. If you just can't figure out and don't have the reflexes to keep up with his storms, then this is not really a good build order to do, since when he moves out with those Elite High Templars, you gotta be able to do at least a decent job in dodging his storms. Also make some lurkers when you get the upgrade ready. Make a hive upgrades. Usually at this point you're gonna need a double evolution or even triple evolution chamber to keep up with whatever he's doing, since he has had such a big lead in terms of upgrades. So you gotta make some extra evolution chambers to keep up, even if you normally don't really fancy it. Also, since I know that I have a slight unit advantage, and since it would be good, I decided to make a lurker block. Basically, this is keep making lurkers and keep putting them kind of separate of each other, and that way you kind of block him to his base and completely prevent him from moving out and expanding. That's pretty much the point of this lurker block. But the biggest mistake, which most Zerg seems to think, and I'm not surprised when I hear all the propaganda I hear from in several fan sites that some D+ level players give, is basically the message that you gotta make a lurker block whenever you can, or it's gonna be bad. You just gotta lurker block, which is not really the case. Lurker block is a bonus if you can pull it off and if it would work well, but it's certainly not something you should do for sure. A lurker block is something that you do as long as it's worth it. For example, you should pretty much never put everything you have in the game to a lurker block. You should always have some insurance so that you can survive even if he breaks out really easily, since you're going to be spending a lot of time in walling him inside. He's gonna keep piling that army of units he's pumping from maybe 8 gateways or so, and since you're gonna be losing a lot more units than he does when he's making that lurker block, it's very important that you don't waste everything and bring everything you have to the block, unless that's your goal to begin with. like you should always have something behind, so that even if it turns wrong, you're still able to stay in the game and so on. Basically the point of the lurker block is that you're able to stop him from expanding, get a couple of expansions yourself, and also besides that you should also be able to get your hive tech and ultraling and so on. That's the main goal usually when you're doing a lurker block. But if he seems to be just breaking out, if he has a way superior army and so on, instead of just wasting everything, you should just like quit it halfway or so. You're not gonna lose the game with that, but like it's completely the opposite. You have an economy advantages and so on. But basically when fighting a lurker block, you either have Scourge and Hydras, or Scourge, which is not quite as powerful, but it forces him to have some micro, or you use Hydras to shoot his observers like that. Basically you keep your overlords around, and then you have a group of Hydras or so, which you dedicate to almost completely just sniping those observers, and that way force him to stay in his base longer and longer. Also remember that since you already have the economy advantage, like I have what 3 to 4 expansions up right now, and he only has 1, so I really have the economy advantage, and I don't really need to mass expand. Completely the opposite. If I can just keep those expansions, and basically besides keeping those expansions, I can just like wait a second, I lost my thought. Outproduce him. So basically, yeah, well,